Welcome to another episode of Connect and Protect. I am your host, the Delo. And anyways, today we have another great episode for you guys and some more added value. I always want to give added value, and I want to connect you with some of the top people in their fields to help the hospitality industry and other industries too if you need it. But today I have Josh Levine. Hello, Mr. Josh.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm just wonderful, sir. Josh and I work a lot together, so this might be a little bit awkward in the beginning, but once he starts talking, everything's going to be great.
I get more awkward then.
More awkward then. Yeah. So Josh has what's called the Gotcha program. So, Josh, tell me, where did the whole antithesis for the Gotcha program come from?
Well, it's funny. It came from our best-selling product at the marketing company is geofencing. And I found that people thought they were geofencing. They've heard about it. It's wonky, it's technical, and they didn't understand it. So I decided it was the way we use it, especially for restaurants, is we got your customers is what it is. We go to your competitor. People are eating in the restaurant, right? We pick them up digitally by attaching to their devices and say, hey, there's another restaurant across the street. Gotcha. Move you over here.
Got it.
I always wanted to make a commercial where we run into the restaurant, grab people and pick them up and set them down in your restaurant. And some people have an issue. They feel like it's weird, like you're stealing customers or something. You're not, because you go to a restaurant. What do? You eat in that restaurant this week. Next week you go to another restaurant. We're letting them know you're there.
So what's the difference between, I want to hear kind of the science of what geofencing actually is, because this is a relatively newer concept in marketing, right?
Yeah,
it's like flyering, but now you're doing it
to
devices?
Yeah, it's tactical now. A lot of times when geofencing first came out, it was really targeting, where you were saying like within 3 miles of this, and it had leakage, like you would get cars drive by and you'd pick up traffic leaving town if you were running a geo-targeted ad by the I-10. You had no idea who you were getting. This is now so granular, I can pick out a department in Home Depot and target like an aisle if I want to.
Like an electrical aisle?
Yes. Yeah, so think about all the uses. We're talking restaurants and bars today, but it's so cool to be able to be so tactical about who we're targeting. And the reason we do this is, it's great to go, oh, I know what my demographic is. I'm looking for people who eat in restaurants that have disposable income that have this, and I'm looking in Phoenix, and then all of a sudden Google or Facebook or whoever you're using for marketing comes back and says, that audience has 90,000 people in it. And for $1,000, you get 100,000 impressions. That means 1.1 time my ad might show as they're scrolling. I want to get the pool down to who's my exact customer. Well, if I own a sports bar and I look at another sports bar, I'm not dropping names because we're here in the Valley, so if I look at another sports bar and I say, look at this, everyone in there is a potential customer for you, correct? They go to a sports bar, they live in town, they're there. I capture those people, and now I serve them ads over the next 30 days.
Well, what if you were selling like a sports jersey for a certain game at a sports bar?
Exactly.
Yeah, you can really knock
Yes,
it out.
and I can hit the stadium. Like, I just did Pat Tillman's run.
Okay.
I had a client that they wanted everyone, when Pat Tillman's race was over, they wanted to offer them a deal to come over and have lunch. And it worked like crazy. We got like 800 people from the race to go in. They actually had they got complaints because they couldn't serve everybody.
So, okay, so in layman terms, people watching this that have no idea what you just said, let's just say we're talking like, satellites and stuff and Verizons and blah, 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 all the fun. So what you do is you have a program that you're able to dial into either a certain event or a certain area. You geo-fence, that's what the fence is. You're fencing that area.
Certain time, certain place, so we'll literally like take a map, go, okay, this is the event, if I wanted to target fine dining establishment that's 2 miles from your fine dining establishment. I'd say, when are they the busiest? Friday, Saturday night. By the way, I can find out that data too. I can just look at the building, how many devices are in the location at that time.
Okay.
And we do all this stuff. So I'll sit there and go, okay, there were 500 devices that walked in and out on Friday between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m.
And define device. Is it just cell phone? Can it be computer?
It's cell phone and computers. And it's viral because, and when I say it's viral, it gets in, and people go, how does it get on? I can't get in my phone. Yeah, it can. The apps you sign up for, you're agreeing to this. You're agreeing to let people market to you.
So when Betty goes on Instagram after leaving Joe's Steakhouse, she may get an ad for Peter's Steakhouse down the road.
Exactly. That's exactly how it works. And if you think about these small pools, like say those 500 people that were eating at Mastro's, I'll say them, they don't advertise with me. Mastro's, I'm available. So Mastro's, you get the 500 people that were in there eating, and now for the next 30 days, I'm going to deliver the ads to those 500 people. My 100,000 impressions, they're going to notice me, right?
Yeah.
And who are they? The people I want in my restaurant. We know it's the right target.
Right.
Whereas if you said North Scottsdale and it says 1 million people, and now I throw 100,000 ads at 1 million people, I have a 1 in 10 chance of them ever seeing my ad.
Okay.
So it's a tactical game. And again, I work with the owners because sometimes an owner will give me the name of a space I'm unaware of, that they'll say like, oh, everybody's going to be at this golf tournament and I want to hit that golf tournament on this day. So we set the fence for that time, that day, and there's pretty much nothing we can't do with it. I mean, there's some, and it doesn't tell us who the people are.
Right.
It just tells us the devices are there. I'm working on a new technology that I'll have next week that literally tells me not only where they are, but where they work and live.
Okay.
Where that device goes.
That's a little creepy.
And yeah, but it's not the person.
No, I got it.
Yeah, and trust me, if I'm doing it, the big boys all have these toys.
Right.
I'm bringing this to people who've never had access to this. Most people are buying a Google ad. It's either a performance ad or a smart ad, and we use those too, but they're just not nearly as effective as this. And it's not, I can track too that the device walks into your location. So now I can tell your return on ad spend. So we can look at it and go, oh my gosh, 14 people from this ad on Friday came in on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we know they were there.
So I know it all depends on the offer, and I understand that this is a loaded question, but I think it's a lot of what people would ask anyway. So I have $100.
Yeah.
I give you $100. I said, Josh, geofence this restaurant over here because I want them to come into my place.
Yeah.
Because I do something like and similar, or maybe I have a dessert place, right?
Exactly.
Down the road. $100. Here you go. So everybody that goes in during that time that has a device, it's pretty much 100%. They're going to get an ad somewhere through something.
Exactly.
But the question would be, on the low end and or high end, what is the percentage of, you know what I'm saying, it actually turning into a client?
The actual, what our return on ad spend for that, we've calculated in the last year, it's averaged $7 per dollar. And that is the first visit. And why I extend with that, because I had a client that we were doing this for, and he said that, and we were tracking the client that walked in, and we showed him how $1,000 became $7,000 in new business. And he was like, yeah, I see that, but my food costs, $6,000, blah, blah, blah. You're like 20%. He goes, you're just like Grubhub and everybody else taking 20% from me. And he said, I do respect these are new people. I said, how often do you think they'll come back? He goes, well, I don't know. I said, do you want to track that? We can find out. Well, they were coming back in on average. Over the next 6 months, they came back in 10 times. Okay. 50% of them. Yeah. And it turned out each new client wasn't worth $14. His median ad spend, it's a fast casual, was $14.15 per person. Okay. Okay. I don't know if they brought 20 people with them. I'm only counting one.
The one person.
So the $14.15, well, they came back 10 times, and now all of a sudden they were worth $140 for that $1,000.
And that's great. You can track all that and give people.
Yeah, and it's really, and again, the only challenge, I'm confident that my ad will be in their face as many times as you pay and want it to be. Yeah. Like we can literally, and what I mean by that is we get that pool, say it's 20,000 people.
Yeah.
you get. You spend, you want 10 times you want the ad to appear on there over a certain,
Right.
over that 30-day. I always say 30 days because it's an easier way. But sometimes people want it like an event. You walk out and they're like,
Now,
barrage
when
them.
you've geofenced that moment or that span of time, does that collection of population get its own little bubble? So say the 30-day campaign is up and then say 60 days goes by and they want to run another campaign to that same group that was there, say
Yes.
for like an event?
Yeah, you can do that if you want. And,
Yeah.
and some people do that for annual. I've actually worked on that with some Airbnb people
Okay.
where they want to hit all the people staying at Airbnbs.
During that time.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then also target like the waste management.
Okay.
And then go, okay, who are the same people? We can even do that with it. So I want people to really use their brains, and I pick their brains about this because I'm like, don't just think of, this is the simple one I'm giving you. Gotcha is, let's grab the people, bring them over to your restaurant, or just an awareness campaign. Let them know that, hey, I have an ice cream shop down the street and you just ate dinner. We can do that. But I also want you to think about like events, and I want you to think about where people live if you're looking for like people.
Right.
It's much more effective than, or where they work. Say you're a lunch only place, you're
Right.
breakfast and lunch, and I get 20 people that come over from Intel. Well, maybe Intel is where we want to be geofencing.
That totally makes sense.
To me, I talk about I'm excited. I'm a CMO. I do I do
You do a lot.
marketing, consulting, and everything. But this is the product that has been like so impactful, and I see small businesses going like, it changed. I helped a restaurant here locally save a location. When I say save a location, they were going to close it because the lease was going up and
Yeah.
it wasn't making any money. They had other locations. But I said, let me try this. Your lease isn't up for 3 months. What's the worst thing that happens? And they were like, it's now their second most profitable store.
Gotcha.
So yeah, gotcha worked.
Let's talk about this new trendy word called is it a word or is it two letters? AI.
Yeah.
So how do you leverage or utilize AI in this whole?
I am a big proponent of AI,
Yeah.
and I can't stop talking about it and also helping people with it. I use it to craft our messages. Once I know my target audience, who I'm talking to,
Okay.
I will consult with the AI bots to tell me,
Right.
like, okay, you see this audience we have, what is going to move them?
What do they want to hear?
Yeah, what's the value? Yeah, what's the value? What do they want to hear? What's the value offer we could offer? I learn something every time I ask. I learned something that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And then when I espouse it to my client, they're like, he's brilliant. No, I'm not. And I'm not taking credit for it because I want you to use this tool too to help your business. Because I am a serial entrepreneur as well. And I want these guys to be successful.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what yeah.
And you're only successful if these ads work and they're making more money and they want to keep spending money
Exactly.
on you. So
And
it's invested.
Like in my past, I have spent millions with marketing companies,
Yeah.
Millions
Right.
of dollars, and couldn't really tell you what they did.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it. So, I wanted to know all of these tools, and that I tripped over geofencing
Yeah.
because it happened to me. I think I've told you the story. I was at Sam's Club and I looked at a TV set. I was like, oh, this is really cool, blah, 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 blah. I'm in the electronics department.
Yeah.
And I walked out and all of a sudden I started getting ads for this make and model of TV.
Crazy.
And I was like, that's odd. And I'm like, okay, they're watching me. They're listening to me. What's happening? So in the fine print on the ad, if you ever get a pop-up ad, if you ever get like a pop-up ad, they always have at the bottom like ad was delivered by AdRoll or AdZoo or Google or Meta.
Interesting, yeah.
You'll see it usually says where it was delivered because
Yeah.
it's them shamelessly advertising their services. But they showed where it was coming from. And I'm like, so I called the company. In this case, it was AdRoll. And I called them, and they're just the delivery mechanism. They buy the space. They resell ads. Like we buy ads, impressions from them, and they sell them in there. So I said, how did this happen? How did I get targeted? I said, because one, I know for a fact, because I was sold musical instruments and electronics before in my past, there's no margin in them. So I was like, how is it cost effective to show me a TV set? You're going to make they make $50 at best on this, $400 TV set. And they said, well, the impressions are so minimal because they're only targeting you. I said, well, why did they target me? They said, oh, that aisle had a geofence on it, and because you spent more than a minute in the aisle, you became a target.
That's crazy.
And I was like, I want that. So I called the company. I called the company that AdRoll said delivered the ads.
Yeah.
And I said, I have a marketing agency. How can I do this? And they said, oh, well, you can't. I'm like, don't tell me I can't. Why can't I? They're like, well, you can do Google and Facebook and all this stuff. Your ad budgets, your clients don't have enough money. I said, well, how much do I have to spend with you to get these tools? They're like, oh, it's a lot of money. And it was a lot of money. And I got 20 of my clients together and said, y'all in for this?
Yeah.
You know, sold them on it, and now I have all the toys and all
That's
the tools.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they keep unlocking things. And again, these are the things that McDonald's has, Coca-Cola has.
What's the difference between that and somebody, say, like when I Google Converse and I don't buy them, and then the next 30 days I'm getting Converse and
That's
all
a retargeting ad, and I love retargeting ads because they say, you know, you've read all the marketing books I've read, you know, it's like they say 7 times, like people have to, you know, that's the average person needs to see something 7 times before they make a decision. Yeah, and that's what the retargeting is. It's like, so they know you went there, it puts a cookie on your device, right, and then goes, and then all the different ad places it could possibly show up.
Is that what it means when they say clear your cookies?
Yes.
So, I thought cookies were like things that you ate.
No.
Diddy likes cookies.
Yeah. Crumble? Yeah. Crumble doesn't need my marketing.
Didn't know what cookies were until now. So cookies are those things that attach to your computer, and then it allows...
And what's funny is they're going away from cookies the way they do it, but they're now just tagging your device.
Pies or... Okay.
No, they're already on to like how they can get your device and all that
That
stuff.
is so funny. Okay, last 2 questions.
Yeah.
Who would benefit and who would want to use your service?
Well, it's funny, you know, you're always espousing the niches. The reason I'm speaking, I use it for a multitude of different industries, but restaurants have been the most impacted that I've noticed.
And is there like a certain type of restaurant that's better than another? Any price points? Any hours operation?
No, actually it's not. It's really been I do a lot of fast casual, but like the big boys, you know, they don't get all the return. They don't get the return visitors. But they get the bigger bang on the visit. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, but they have smaller pools to shoot for too. So the ads, some of them, most people think it's a very expensive, proposition, but it's not. I mean, you can be very effective with $1,000, but you know, I've showed people, like I've had people try it and then go, do all my locations. You know, that's usually what happens.
Okay. And then the last question, which is going to be a little bit of an odd question, but I always want to be transparent and give people value. Who would not see any value in utilizing something like this?
You know, I can't really think of an industry that wouldn't, if you think about it. Because, again, it's finding your targets. You know, for like B2B, I find challenging sometimes. It was funny, B2C was always the hard, business to consumer was always the hard one for me to get. And because you were targeting such large swaths of areas, and it was kind of like your impressions weren't effective, where this solved that. Where B2B, you have a smaller pool of targets, because I have a lot of industry, people that service the restaurant industry are a lot of my clients, and they're B2B. They want to talk to the restaurant owners. So geofencing a restaurant is not a good, because I'm only trying to hit the owner, which, by the way, I have techniques to only hit the employees if you're ever looking to hire employees. But but to get owners, I need to do events. I need to find an event. So for B2B, even there it works. Like if you know where your leads are going to be, if you know where your people are going to be. Like I have a guy that was trying to find, he advertises only to painters. And I was like, oh my God. And then I'm like, oh wait. Every Sherman-Williams and the people walking in there are like painters. I'm like, oh, I can use geofencing. I just have to hit every Sherman-Williams and every...
So really the answer is somebody that doesn't have any money.
Yeah, it's true. And it's hard as a business owner to... Marketing is the first thing when, like here, especially in the summer, they go, oh, everybody's gone, I want to stop marketing. And I'm like... my guys who aren't are the ones they're not getting killed. They're doing, so it's knowing that leverage, and that's why as to prove my worth, I always want to meet with the clients and go, what did you do in 2021, 2022, 2023? What's our benchmarks?
Right.
Because I want you to see, and sometimes I have to prove it to them. I have to go,
Yeah.
well, in 2022 in June, here were your sales. Here's your sales now.
Got it.
You know,
Okay.
so-
And you can do this nationwide?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Good to hear. What's your website?
It's wiserootsllc.com, but I built a landing page specifically for restaurant people, just
Yeah.
called Gotcha Customers.
Which basically we'll have in show notes and everything, our Connect and Protect landing page, which will, when we get a referral, we'll get it over to Josh. So very cool, man.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to leave with, or?
No, other than the next time we need to jam and we need to talk heavy metal bands all day.
I think we can do that.
I think we
Yeah.
talk really weird ones that'll really get people.
That would be exciting.
Some
Yes.
Sabotage, some White Lion maybe.
White Lion's not that weird. But
Yeah.
Until next time, folks, thank you for watching Connect and Protect. We talked about geofencing today, a little bit of AI. But yeah, all the show notes, all the links, everything will be below. If you're interested in this service, just let me know. And until next time, peace.